Welcome to Thriller Recaps. Today, I am explaining the movie Legend of the Five, explaining every scene as it happens. Watch till the end, and please like, share and subscribe if you enjoy this. Amber calls Zoe telling her she's missing out on a pool party one of them organized in Australia. The call ends when her dad comes in and brings to her notice that she has burnt the food she was preparing. She tries making up excuses, but he assures her that it's fine and tells her how much he loves her. He leaves her while she pats the bracelet given to her by her mother before she died because of cancer. Her school goes on a trip to the museum. In the bus their teacher gives them a short history about the place they would be visiting. She tells them a sorceress was once the dedicated guardian of the Tree of Life. One of her students joked that he's read the story once in a comic and this joke cuts the teacher's story short. Owen, one of Zoe's classmates, tried to start a conversation with her and she seems interested. He continues talking and it gets so annoying that he had to be shut up by Kaylee, an angry loner. The rest of the trip is continued in silence. At the museum they talked more about the tree and its importance. Some of the students seem uninterested in the old fairy tale. They're taken to the tree's location, but Kaylee, Owen and Zoe get distracted and move to the other side of the museum where they find the stuff. Owen tells Zoe the markings on the staff represent the elements. Javia somehow finds them and tells them to keep their voices down before Caitlin comes in to look for Javia. Kaylee, irritated, shows Caitlin a picture she drew of her drooling over Javia. Owen tries to shut them up but somehow unlocks the secrets of the staff. Zoe picks it up, their teacher runs in and collects the stuff from them immediately. They follow their teacher out of the room into what seems to be an ancient library. Zoe tells the teacher no one touched the box and the staff just fell out. They're told that the staff was crafted from the Tree of Knowledge. It was found during an archaeological dig in 1920. Unsatisfied with the responses given to them by their teacher, Owen asks why the staff affected all of them, showing elements on their faces. Their teacher shows them a weird-looking Rubik's Cube made of stone, which is unusual because people at that time hadn't started crafting with stones. She suggests that if the kids touch the cube, they would probably be able to decipher the message hidden in the cube. Javia doesn't allow her to complete her sentence before touching the cube. The cube glows as they all touch it except Zoe, who immediately suspects something wasn't right. The rest of the children go into a trance while Zoe hears the voice of her mother singing, causing her to touch the cube, and they find themselves transported into another world. They all panic except Javia, who cares more about the soccer game he was supposed to have that afternoon. They move into the forest where they find a man who has almost become a tree. He asks them if the sorcerer has finally arrived. Confused, the children try to make him explain to them better. The man tells them Beast doesn't welcome those he doesn't recognize. They're left more confused as something come after them. The man tells them to show the figure who they really are. Meaning they must unlock their powers and confront their darkest fears. While running, they get divided as their teacher runs through another side of the forest where she meets the Beast and is hit. She passes out and the Beast continues to chase them. Caitlin gets injured and Zoe tries to save her. She pushes her to the other side and disappears into a tree before the Beast got to her. The next day, the teacher regains consciousness and stays by a tree seeming unbothered when a small forest elf approaches her. One of them pokes its nails into her ears, causing other elves to make fun of her. Angrily, she shuts them all up. Turns out the teacher is the sorceress and has taken the children as one of her manipulated individuals so they could help her get other parts of the staff. She commands the elves to find the kids. Zoe finds herself in a garden where meets the old man from earlier. She also notices an element has now appeared on her wrist. Caitlin, Owen, and Javia now tired when Kaylee appears out of nowhere to tell them she has found somewhere they could hide. She takes them to a waterfall area, but they notice an inscription on the wall. Zoe, still with the old man, is still trying to decode the meaning of the word, "One tree is all trees." He tells her that they're earth elements and are in line with the tune of creation, meaning they could heal others and manipulate creations. He continues telling her the sorcerer was the guardian of the Tree of Knowledge. She protected it knowing it protected the people, but he left, traveled the world, and learned how to crave things that weren't his. He made friends with 4 people, and they planned to harness the powers of the elements including earth. He and his friends tried to go back home but were refused entry by the sorceress. They waited until a plague fell upon the land. Desperate to save her dying species, the sorceress joins forces with their group. Losing her people and her sanity, the sorcerer becomes obsessed with gaining power from the tree. To protect the tree, the group casts out the sorceress, who then tries to find her way back to the tree through portals and enchantments. He tells her they must find the staff and return it. Zoe decides not to help him do anything as she finds it all ridiculous. He tells her she doesn't have a choice and she and her friends must work together to save themselves from the beast, save the tree from the sorcerer and ensure the future of humanity. Kaylee and the rest of the team try to decipher what the writing on the wall means. Kaylee, however, can read it. Owen suggests that to open to walls, they'll have to present the 5 elements: earth, fire, water, air, and ether. Zoe goes to find her friends. She looks lost and confused when she sees the sorcerer, her teacher, drag her behind a tree. Zoe is excited and tells her they must find the others. She shuts Zoe up and reveals to her that she's the sorcerer. She tells her all she wanted to do was to save her people. She tells Zoe to bring her the staff's head, but Zoe, already pissed, tells her she's not interested in doing anything for either of them. The sorcerer tells her the beast is after her friends and she needs to save them. Zoe runs down a path and gets chased by the beast. Kaylee and the rest then try to recreate the other 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air, but they don't succeed. Owen leaves disappointed and Caitlin encourages him to keep trying, assuring him he'll get it. Zoe finds them, but she comes with the beast still after her. Kaylee immediately suggests that since Zoe is there, they can be able to crack the code on the wall together. Luckily, they're able to go through the wall. Zoe tells them about her encounter with the old man. She tells them they reek of the sorcerer and that's why the beast has been after them. She suggests they put mud over themselves to remove the scent of the sorcerer. They throw mud around and finally get covered in it when see an injured fairy who Zoe heals. She tells them they need to find the rest of the staff and the tree. They continue their journey into the woods. They go on for days until they come across a demon-like personality who calls himself the Keeper of the Crossroads. He tries to scare them and tells them it's not safe for them to be there. He notices they're not moved and even Kaylee asks him, "What are you doing?" It surprised the Keeper that they could see him. He shows them a sign. Petersham. Owen tells the group that's where he was born and as he touches the sign turns to ice. The Keeper makes him vanish and this causes the group to panic. Javia tries to stand up to him and is also turned to ice and made to vanish too. Caitlin is also shown her place of birth and is told he'll send her back there if she wanted. Kaylee, who knows it's a trap, tries to stop her. Zoe then explains to him that they're trying to stop the sorcerer and save the Tree of Knowledge. When he asks what he gains from their adventure, they get confused and ask if they're not doing the right thing. Kaylee and Caitlin offer him money which he rejects, saying he just wants a sign of their intentions. He also makes them vanish and is now left alone with Zoe, who he tells he could take her home. She offers him her bracelet, the one given to her by her mother. Seeing her intentions are pure, he gives her the bracelet and opens the gate to the crossroads. The gate leads her to another land where it's snowing. She gets frustrated and starts to cry. She is visited by the sorcerer who congratulates her for making it through the gates. Zoe gets frustrated that she's been used to it. Kaylee and Caitlin are wandering the forest looking for Owen and Javia when they meet another strange creature that looks like a human pig. Zoe meets Javia, who takes her to another creature that seems to be sowing plants into the snow. Owen is left by himself when he discovers a new writing on the wall. He can decipher what it means, but the beast is still after him. The human pig-like creature brings Kaylee and Caitlin to Javia and Zoe. They get entertained by the creatures. They tell him Owen is still missing. One of the creatures shows the team where Owen was. Kaylee sees the writing on the wall and realizes it's talking about a box holding the key to the mirror where they'd find Tree. The creatures tell them they shouldn't be looking for the box as they're not the first humans to seek the end and they all always end up dead. Owen is found by the beast but immediately gets dragged out of his location by his friends. The portal/mirror is closed before the beast can come out of it. The sorcerer gets to where the tree is located but is unable to access it as she had been locked out. She rants for a while asking that the gates be opened. Seeing that the gates aren't opening, she tries to unlock it herself but fails. She leaves promising to come back with the staff. Owen shows the group what he had seen on the walls and Kaylee is able to decode everything. The sorcerer appears again but only Zoe can see her. She leaves the group to talk to her. She tells Zoe they'd have to keep moving as nowhere is safe. Zoe tells her she can't continue the journey. Caitlin sees her talking but thinks she's talking to herself. She suggests they should try going back to the crossroads. Zoe tells her the old man seems scared. She tries to mention their teacher, but Caitlin tells her she died. Zoe hasn't told the rest of the team their teacher is the sorcerer. They go back to the rest of the team where Owen is telling Javia that the former elementals died out. They hear a sound and hide. At their hiding spot, they see some elves and get irritated by their behavior. They leave that location and Zoe tries to rant saying they die in the forest when she gets sucked in by what seems to be quicksand. Her friends try to save her but the sorcerer tells her to ignore them and embrace the darkness, place where it is darkest. Zoe shouts that he hates the darkness, making the team realize Zoe has someone she's been talking to. Owen tells them it's not a real place while Zoe gets sucked into the dirt completely. They try to help but Owen says he can't point out the fact that he's useless. He also gets sucked into the sand and Kaylee realizes that the only way to get through is to give up. They all get sucked in. Caitlin sees a reflection of herself who offers to show her where her friends are. Zoe also sees a reflection of herself. Kaylee sees her reflection who tells her trusting people and talking to people is not who she is, and so does Owen. Zoe follows her reflection. Caitlin resists her reflection. She sees Javia who's about to also follow his reflection and stops him. She tells him the mirror is a trap. They meet Kaylee whose reflection is now tearing out pages of her book. They're able to stop Owen also. They notice Zoe has gone with her reflection and Caitlin offers to help pull her out. She can get in and meets Zoe who tells her about her mother. Caitlin encourages Zoe to call her a hero. She takes her out of the mirror. The reflection of the five come up saying nothing has changed. The friends can escape the cave. They meet themselves around rocks and water. Happy that they made it through, Zoe tells them they'd have to keep going. They continue their journey, and they finally find the box. The sorcerer appears again and tells Zoe to open the box. They find it empty. She's now speaking through Zoe and shuts Javia when he says the staff is the box. Caitlin notices there's a shadow around Zoe, making her the second person who can see the sorcerer. The sorcerer appears now visible to the rest of them. Zoe tells them she agreed to help the sorcerer. The sorcerer reveals she had been bringing different elementals to help her search for the staff for years. She reveals she manipulated them to be at the museum and she killed Zoe's mother. Zoe again gets angry her mother was killed for the sorcerer's scheme. Kaylee uses a piece of the portal/mirror she had gotten earlier to summon the beast, but he's stopped by the sorcerer, and this allows Zoe and her friends to escape. Owen scolds Zoe for not telling them about the sorcerer. They're again threatened by the presence of the beast but luckily get saved by a fairy Zoe had saved earlier who tells her the beast is Earth's child. She is then able to stop the beast from attacking them. She finds out the beast was injured and pulls out the staff's head stuck in him, causing both her and the beast to pass out. They're once again visited by the sorcerer who demands the staff's head. Owen stands up to her and gets killed, so does Caitlin. Zoe finally comes out of her short-term coma. She hands over the head to the sorcerer who then uses her as a guide to get through the tree's gate. Zoe meets the old man again who reveals the sorcerer as his sister. He apologizes for making her go insane, but she yells at him telling him she fixed the mess he made. She tells him she'd use the power of the staff to remake the broken world. He poses as an obstacle, and she uses the staff to kill him, and Zoe is unable to heal him. He told her not to worry as it was his time to go. He reminds her that one tree is all trees before finally breathing his last. The sorcerer then commands Zoe to give her access to the trees, but Zoe refuses, saying she's letting go of old things, and destroys the tree. She tells the sorcerer to do the same, but she refuses, saying she'd have what she was promised. She goes into the tree and dies with it. Her friends scold her for destroying the tree, but she asks them to help her grow another one. She stops breathing. They find a way to go back home. School continues normally, but they all still have their powers. Subscribe for more daily videos. Your support, likes, shares, and subscriptions mean a lot. See you in the next video.